usually looking for a quick link. If I find a quick link on there, if you don't know what a quick link looks like, it's probably going to be a link that looks like nothing else on the chain. It's going to look really out of place. This one's going to have a little bit of a slot. I've actually found it right here. So when these first came out, you would be able to come here with about your hand, push the chain together, kind of put some angles to it, and it would come apart. But that was just way too difficult to change. The chain's flexing way too much, so there's a tool you can get. I picked that up. It's this one's a Park Tool MLP-1.2, I believe. So this guy just comes in on the outside of that quick link, just like that, and you're going to squeeze. You're going to hear a click, and if you don't hear a click, that means your quick link is pretty worn. These can only be used clicked and unclicked so many times, probably maybe roughly around 3 times. So if this one just falls right apart super easy, you want to replace it. Don't take a chance reusing it, because it will fall off, and then your chain will fall off almost at any time. So go ahead and take your quick links off, and then go ahead and save them. So this I wiped off a little bit because it was pretty rusty, but it looks like it's going to look like this. Everything looks like a pin, and then there's actually a little tiny opening or slot right there, so it's going to look different from all the rest of them right there. And then once you have that disconnected, it's going to come out just like that. So once you break your chain free, you can go ahead and just run it through that rear derailleur. It's going to fall right out. Sometimes they fall out right on their own. And just pull that out free just like that. And of course, I got another video you can check. This will help you find the correct tools. You can check your chain wear to make sure this is still a good chain to use, and then the different quick links you can use to put everything back together, and the tools to go with it. So this is still a good chain. We can hang on to this. If it's not a good chain, we can maybe use this to remeasure a new one, assuming the old one was correctly put on with the correct length on there. Now we can unloosen or take off our rear derailleur. It's going to be this bolt right there. It's going to be a 5mm. You stick that tool right inside just like that. Get a good deep fit with that tool. You don't want it to slip out and strip anything. And the other thing you want to do before you start taking this off is look over on the other side. So this is our B screw right here. It's actually screwing into the derailleur here, right about there, and then the bottom of the screw is resting on the frame. There's a little ledge, or they call it like a dog ear, or just a small piece of metal that's all piece of this frame here. That B screw sits right on top. So when you go to reinstall, we need that B screw to sit right on top, otherwise this isn't going to fit correctly and your shiftings will be really off, and you could ruin something too. Just go ahead and unscrew that. Cool thing about these 3 ways though, if you get something that's really tough, you can get 2 hands on this thing and break it free, and then just spin on the outside of that quick link, and then get ready to catch your derailleur, and voila. So here's that little ledge I was talking about, little piece of metal. That's where that B screw comes in. So when you go to reinstall, that B screw sitting on top. You don't want it to be over here. Even if you can get it started, that might even be a problem. But everything's got to be in alignment, so to allow these threads to go back into the frame nice and straight, and you don't strip anything. Now we can go to the front derailleur. This is a clamp band style right here. Comes in and grabs just like that. Bolt comes through here, unscrew that bolt, this clamp opens up, and then your whole derailleur can come off. So this is where the 3-way kind of runs into its limitations. It's going to hit the frame here, so I'm going to go to my L tool and then loosen the bolt from this side. So before you take this guy off, take note of the height. This is where the front derailleur differs from the rear derailleur. We have to adjust the height by hand, and then there's also an angle. We can angle it out to the left or angle out to the right or right left. So what we're looking at is the bottom of this derailleur cage. If I was to use my fingers to exercise and bring this out, have the bottom of this derailleur cage get just on top of these teeth here of the chainring, and then we're looking at the gap, that spacing there. If I could fit my tool top of the tooth to the bottom of this derailleur cage, that's the height we want to look at. So if you can measure that or just eyeball it and remember how that's supposed to be, that's going to be critical, otherwise we may not have shifting correct. Usually the spacing here, textbook, it would be like 1 to 3 millimeters. This is probably a little higher, but sometimes some bikes call for a little bit different, so keep that in mind. And a lot of times either you're getting your paint or your frame painted so we can't go back to the old dirt line. But if that's still there, then you go ahead and line that back up to the old dirt line. But I'm gonna go ahead and unscrew this bolt, and it's a 4 mil. And break that free. Once I got that bolt fairly loose, I think it's a little rusted, so it's still tough. Okay, got that free, and I can come in with my ball end of my Allen tool, come in at a slight angle, and I can do a little speed twisting. And this bolt's gonna come completely out if you have the clamp style. Yep, this opens. Just like that. So this is the clamp style where it opens up and closes. Just like that. And the old style, they came very specific sizes. This one has a reading inside here. This is a 34.9. So anything smaller than this, you can, the newer style derailleurs, you can get a clamp style still, but they'll have a shim or a spacing in here, and you can size the spacing to whatever diameter of the tubing you have. So if you have something that's smaller, like a 28.5, you put that shim in there, and this will still be able to use your old derailleur. All right, next thing we're going to do is take off our crank set. So this is all a one piece. The chain rings are connected to this crank arm right here, and there's a bolt right in the middle for this style. You may have something a little bit different, but this one here has a 8mm. You can use an 8mm tool there. That bolt comes out, and there's another one on the other side. Once we do that, then we grab another tool that's going to help us extract this whole arm off of our bottom bracket, because it's pressed on with friction. So I'm using a T-handle 8mm, got some good length here. Try to use something about as long as this. If something a little shorter, it's going to be tough, especially if that bolt's on there really tough. So, and follow this whole procedure. Like I throw my right arm over the top tube, so I'm stabilizing it. I'm also getting good leverage here. And then I'm going to use the right crank arm. I'm going to hold that, lock it in with my right arm here, and then get this tool in there. If this was 12 o'clock, this would be 3 o'clock here. I don't want to put the tool way over there. It's going to be pretty hard to get some good leverage. So right about here. So I'm going to lift up with my left and push down with my right. And if you have to, you can kind of notch it down. So lifting up, and it's counterclockwise, lefty-loosey. Once I break that loose, I can go ahead and spin with my ball end. And when I got that bolt there, it's like a bolt with some plastic on it. Try not to lose any of those. And then we're going to do the other side. And the trick to this is to stay on the same side, so I'm still on the right side of the bike. And with my left hand, I'm grabbing the crank arm, still having the crank arms almost horizontal to the ground. So I'm pushing down with my right hand and lifting up with my left. And this pedal's a little jagged, so if it's tough, get a rag or a glove. Break that free. Go ahead and spin that bolt loose. And we got that bolt there too. So now we have to get our crank arm puller. Hope this was helpful. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment. If you like what you see, leave a thumbs up. Something I didn't do or I didn't get to, just go ahead and leave that comment as well. I do classes. If you're in the area, don't forget to subscribe if you like what you see. Thanks.